there's an internal control issue to do with weaknesses of information technology, internal control environment.
That's not really a counting issue. That's a very separate issue. What about the failure to deduct income tax from sitting allowance?
Chair, that's accounting. That's an accounting issue, and we had included it for discussion.
Okay. So I think honorable members, we discussed in our pre-meeting on these issues, and we said that we will start with those ones. But Auditor, you needed to indicate to the committee that on those issues, was there any loss of funds? Starting with the first issue, presentation and disclosure of financial statements.
Chair, on all of these issues, there were no loss of funds. We didn't see any.
Okay, so I think we can start from that. Maybe you can check for us on the financial statements that were submitted to you, which accountant signed them.
Chair, the fund accountant is by the name Kevin Kipkoech, is back member number 23469.
Is Kevin here? Oh, he's outside. Okay, let him come. Meanwhile, you can check the status.
Chair, maybe as we wait for Kevin, with your indulgence,
Yes.
I think wait, you need to be honest before this committee. I have taken the trouble, Chair, to request for the email management responses from the client, and I've read responses that are here. There is a huge difference clarity, because in the email address that was sent to the committee, the management responses and what is before the members are totally different, Chair. So I don't know, we are flying blind or what is happening with OAG, because what the client did is that they just changed the headline, because the headline says this one that we have stamped 1st July, and you have been with us for the longest time. But when you look at the soft copy, for example, Chair, as he comes in, when you look at management responses, that is here, it says the error arose during the final compilation and printing of financial statements. That is 1.0 of the financial. The omission is highly regrettable and will not occur again. The financial statements here attached. But on the soft response that the client submitted, the management response says, management acknowledges the audit observation that the financial statements submitted for audit were not page numbered in accordance with the requirements of public sector accounting boards. The error was inadvertent and arose during the final compilation and printing of the financial statement. Management regrets the oversights and take full responsibility. Revised report attached in Appendix 1. To address the issue, the management has taken the following corrective measures. This is in the document that was submitted to the committee via email, but when you come here, it has been omitted, maybe, in my own opinion, to mislead the committee. So the client should take up. Either he owns what he sent to the Senate, which was within the timeline, or he owns what he has presented today. Because in my own opinion, the committee will not take the correct picture. And that is why I'm taking to task the OAG. Which among these reports did you see? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. As I indicated that I got a soft copy, which I have not checked because this is the first one, and in our pre-engagements, I clearly outlined that we'll discuss what we got earlier, and what I have is the very first one, the hard copy, which we are going to discuss, which says that the error was inadvertent and arose during the final compilation and printing of the financial statements. So that's the one I have, Chair. The soft copy,
Yes.
I have it, but I've not gone through it because I got it after this one. So we are using the
Chair,
first one.
it means the soft copy was submitted within timeline, but this copy has been submitted today with an intention to mislead the committee by the client. It is as simple by that. Because what we have here is not what was submitted to the committee via email. So OAG and through the chair, which management responses are we considering? Is it the soft copy or the hard copy? And if this hard copy, this is the one you want us to rely, or the one that was taken to the Senate within the timeline that has been provided by the standing orders?
Chair, thank you, Chair. I'm not aware of which one was really sent to the Senate, to the committee, but what I have is the one Honorable Senator has just discussed about, the one which is talking about an error. So the soft copy, I got it, I think yesterday, so I've not checked it. So I'm checking on the Harrier one, which we have here. But the Chair, initially I was trying that in case management have any additional information to make, probably based on the soft copy they did, I request that you just allow them at least the paper and we get to hear the facts whether we can pick. Thank you.
Chair, to be fair to OAG, you know you are the prosecutor. So you cannot choose and pick what will be taken to the committee. Because, Chair, if you look at the soft copy, and I hope your secretariat has shown you, there is so much information that has been added in the soft copy outside the original copy that has been presented today. So, Chair, I needed guidance. Do we consider, or the client can tell us, we consider the written hard copy that is before us or the soft copy, so that when we are progressing, we know which leg to stand on. And I need your ruling, because, Chair, I can imagine other entities will appear before you. They'll send you soft copy, then the day of appearance they come with hard copy, which is materially different from what is before the committee. That is the ruling I really need you, Chair, so that we can make progress. I thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe Auditor, at the beginning of the meeting, the Chair asked you whether you are ready for us to.
Yes, Chair, on the basis of what I have and what I verified and what we have discussed on the issues cleared and not cleared, Chair, I'm ready to proceed with this engagement.
But you've just said that there are some ready when we'll be interrogating issues which you've not led.
And that's why I really want to reemphasize that they can still give their information on the latest documents they have. So I'm ready to proceed, Chair.
No, Chair, in the indulgence, it's not about proceeding or not. It's about the procedure. You know, in the Raila Odinga case in 2017, a national election, it's not a laughing matter, OAG, a national election was nullified based on procedure. So procedure is not something you joke with. The point I'm trying to make, for example, Chair, in the response of the governor on the issue of soft copy, it talks about designate a compliance officer. So, AG, are you aware of this compliance officer? You are not, because you have not gone through the responses. So, Chair, I think what the OAG should be advising us is we stand down one of the responses, either the soft copy, but my worry, if we stand down the soft copy, it means the client submitted the responses outside the timeline. And that one, will force us into flying blind.
Let me hear from the liaison officer from auditors.
Thank you, Chair. The auditor received a response on the 1st of July, and that's the response which was used to verify or to prepare the report for the committee. Subsequently, there's another report which has come, which the auditor has not had a chance to look at. So that's the position, Chair.
That is now clear.
So, Governor?
Honorable Chair, the documents are generally the same. What we have in the hard copy is fairly kind of a summary of the very long responses in the email that we forwarded. So basically, the documents that have been circulated that are before you on your table and the one that the auditor has and indicated that he is ready to proceed is exactly the same document that that we have circulated. But even that response raised by my senator, if you look at it, we were just trying to be, concise. But the information, there is no material difference in terms of that information. So we really, it's exactly the same document. There could be, we were trying to be concise in a number of appearances before Senate. Having a response that is 1 page for a document, if you can be able to make it concise into 2 paragraphs, it saves, the committee. So basically, it's the same document. We just summarized it. And I think, as indicated by the auditor, and it is the document that is before all of us, the hard copies. So really, there is no material difference between the document that we presented on email and the one that is before us.
Chair, I disagree totally with the governor. He's just being smart. To address the issue, Governor, in your soft copy through the chair, you have added 3 issues: revised and resubmitted, designate a compliance officer, enhance internal control procedures. So you cannot, in your response in the hard copy, it is just one statement. So you cannot say there is no material differences. Yet in your soft copy, what Governor should be telling us is if he is willing to stand down one of the responses and wait for the consequences. Because if he stands down the soft copy response, it means he has submitted outside the timeline. If he stands down the hard copy, it means the committee will fly blind because they will not have anything in reference or looking at the soft copy. So, Governor, you cannot mislead, but these are material. The fact that you have given one statement and then go to give us following corrective measures, which means all these members are not seeing because they are not using soft copy, they are using hard copy. So these corrective measures are not here. So it means it's material difference and it will affect the committee report writing before the House Chair. So I think, Chair, you need to make a ruling whether we stand down soft copy or hard copy and the entity to wait for consequences. Because if you choose to proceed with all these material differences, then the outcome will come out will not be fair to everybody. Because the fact that the governor is here to present, and I agree with you, AG, the governor will be given a chance to explain and clarify a few issues and there. That is not the point. We are not contesting on that. The issue is the timeline and materiality and the procedure before the committee. So, Chair, can the governor tell us whether he's willing to stand down either of the responses or he's willing to go together? And if he goes together, it will mean the OAG liaison will be flying blind because you'll have the hard copy, but your colleague has said he has not seen the soft copy. So it will be hard to proceed because we'll be referring to the soft copy or the hard copy. Thank you, Chair.
I have consulted the clerk here, and the responses that were sent on email and the ones that we have now, the ones which were sent by email earlier on are more detailed. For example, when you look at the first issue, they have elaborated in detail what the omissions were in the financial statement. But this one, they have summarized the responses. Now, therefore, it means legally the responses that we have before us are the emailed responses. Unfortunately, we cannot be able to look at the email responses now because it now forces every member to now be on their phones or bring their laptops here to go through the responses. Now, the other funds which are before us, emergency, climate change, car and mortgage, the clerk tells me the responses are not materially different from what they received earlier. So it is my considered way forward that we will stand down the education fund, but proceed with the other funds. There are other funds which are in Nandi County, which we did not invite them to come before us. I think at that point we will combine those funds with the education funds, when we hope that the inconsistencies in the responses will not be there. So just to avoid a lot of issues, we will stand down the education fund, but proceed with the other funds.
Chair, while I agree with the procedure that this issue, because this issue of education fund is very critical. The issue of bursary is very critical. The issue of even list of beneficiaries that were awarded bursary, it's a serious issue. So I agree that we stand down then it, but Chair, so that it becomes lesson to others. The governor must apologize to the committee for an intent to mislead this committee. Because if the committee was not keen, and I think there is a perception by these entities to assume that senators are too busy not to notice the inconsistency. So as a lesson to the others, he must apologize and step down his documentation for an intention to misrepresent facts, to mislead the committee with an intention of an outcome that he himself knows. So, Chair, so that this committee moves in a neat manner, and I agree that this education fund, we reschedule until the inconsistencies are correct. The governor should apologize and withdraw his documentation so that we can proceed with others as per the tradition of parliament.
Okay, before the governor says something, I think the principal person who prepared these responses is one Alfred Lagat, who is the CEC for Finance and Planning. I would like you to explain to this committee about these inconsistencies and take note that the committee takes seriously the issues of responses. That's why at the beginning, we always ask the auditors whether, and the clerk, whether the responses are in the right format and substance, and that they have been processed within the required timelines. So can you explain this anomaly?
Thank you, Chair, and the committee. As the governor said, is that the document before us is really a summarized version of what we had submitted. The truth is, a lot of work went into preparing the one that we forwarded to the Senate, and upon review, we thought that since it's for the record and this will be in the record of Senate, let's have a summarized version that will really save the committee time, because when you look at what we submitted, if the governor is to read everything, most of those things are our administrative actions. So we thought, since it's also going to be used by ourselves at the county, let's give the summarized copy before the committee. But we also ensure that the Senate has this document that really we have step-by-step actions that we intend to take at the county to sort the issues that are before us. So it is a product of us being very serious about the queries and giving much details. And in our wisdom and in consultation with the OIG, we thought that really the documents being one and the same, most of the issues that are in the detailed document would arise in our discussions and would form part of the comments that the governor would make, and also some of the verbal responses that I would also make myself. But in principle, really, we don't have materially different documents. It's a summary of the former. Thank you, Chair.
You know, As a procedure in this committee, and like that you have appeared before us severally, we encourage as much information as possible to be documented for our record purpose. In as much as we have the Hansard, where what you say is also very important, but the responses are going to be read verbatim before we even ask a question. So if we have a detailed response, that is even good for us. It's even good for us so that we reduce the number of questions we are going to ask you. But if you summarize it, then you even make the meeting longer because the questions will be many, they'll be back and forth. So I think what you had done earlier in your initial document, that is what you should just have sent. Because some of us have already read what you sent on email and you were prepared based on what you had sent on email. And then now when we come to the meeting, we see a different document. You know, it causes confusion. So yes, you were thinking about summarizing, but us, we want more details. And that is the procedure, that whatever is submitted to us must be the same as what has been submitted to the auditor. Because the auditor is going to advise the committee based on the responses. So if the responses to the auditor are different from the responses to the committee, or the responses to the clerk, who is supposed to advise the members, is different from the responses that have been tabled, then it becomes a problem. So I think that one...
The last one,
yes.
I don't know, OAG, don't you find it weird that the client, you advise them to summarize? Because that is the response of CPA. Because he says you advise. And let me ask you a very simple question. In your audit report last one, you have indicated that you didn't see list of beneficiaries. So you are telling them to summarize. So if you wanted, there were list of beneficiaries of 1,000, and they gave you 200 and tell you this assembling because they want to do a conspectus of the entire process. What will be your opinion? Because you need to deny what the client is saying, because he's saying on the advice of the OAG, we did a summary. Yet, the Chair, and I don't know, Chair, on a lighter note, I don't know whether there has been a ruling on this committee or any other committee that you have advised client that you have a very limited time. That is why they need to summarize any documentation. I'm not aware. Maybe the client should advise us. Maybe they have been appearing in a different... So I needed the OAG to tell us why would he advise the client to summarize, or is just misleading the committee. Thank you, through the indulgence of the Chair.
Chair, yes. I think it is only fair that the Senator also accurately quotes. The client, we have not said that the auditor advised us to summarize. We have given the explanation. That is not...
Through the Chair, your CEC has said we can bring the answer. You know the goodness, Chair, he has in fact said.
Okay, unless you want to withdraw, let us listen to the governor.
No, Chair, but the governor should guide these officers very well, because the CPA has said he summarized in his own thinking based on the advice and the time of the committee. Unless we can bring the answer, Governor, so that you can go through and see what the CPA has just said.
Okay, Senator for Nandi, just hold on. Let the governor make his explanation, and so that we can make further direction and proceed.
Chair, I think for us, as indicated by my CEC and also as I had indicated, there is in our assessment, there is no difference, material difference on the two documents. But we appreciate what you have said in terms of the guidance that, you know, the details.
Chair. Point of order. Just your indulgence. The Chair has ruled that there is inconsistency in the issue of response to education fund. Then the governor is insisting that there is no material difference. So is it the opinion of the governor that we proceed? Because he is challenging your ruling, because you have said and we have agreed there is inconsistency. But he is still insisting there is no inconsistency.
In fact, Chair, we are all in, I mean, as a client before you, we are in agreement with your ruling. In fact, if and we all agreed on your ruling, we would have just stepped down that document and proceeded to the next one. It's the senator who is contesting. We have just given our explanation, and we have said that we note the position taken by, if we were to print and provide that the responses as per our email, you would then notice that there is very little difference. But we agree with your ruling, and we are ready to proceed as you have guided, and that guidance in terms of remaining and giving as much details as possible is well taken, Chair. But really, we just want to leave it at that because you've guided.
Senator Mutembei.
Chair, I'm sorry, I had stepped out, but I remember when we were having the pre-meeting in the morning, the Auditor General's office said that he was served with the document. Was it this morning or yesterday? The document you said you were served with, is it yesterday?
Chair, I got, actually what I'm running is, what I have is the detailed response. What I got yesterday was the summarized response. Yeah,
So
I have the detailed.
So as I conclude, what I was saying is, he got the documents on the 16th, and he has a document of 16th, and we agreed we go on the document of 16th and not the document that you received yesterday, and not this document that we have received this morning.
Okay, very well.
That's what we agreed.
While you are away, the chair made a ruling on that matter. The chair has made a ruling that we are going to step down the education fund responses because the clerk has confirmed that there is a material difference. But the other funds will proceed as they are. And then the education fund, because there are other funds which are not before us, we will combine them with those other funds at a later date. So let us make progress. So I think we will start with the emergency fund, which is in the below 5. Auditor, proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Report of the Auditor General on Nandi County Emergency Fund for the year ended 30th June 2024. It has a qualified opinion. And Chair, there are 3 issues raised on this report. One, the first one is to do with accuracy, presentation, and disclosure of the financial statements. Chair, as discussed, maybe you guide again whether the accountant is to comment on this.
Yeah, so you can check for us who the accountant was.
Chairman, the fund accountant was Brian Birgen. His pack member number 26686.
Is Brian here? Is Brian here?
Chair, the fund manager is here, not the accountant. So the fund manager is here.
So we are concerned about the accountants because in all the funds report, it appears that this problem is repeating itself. So that's why we are very keen to know who the accountants were. Every fund has this issue of accuracy, presentation, and disclosure.
And also, is the same Brian that was an accountant in the previous, you remember when you asked the accountant in the previous fund of education, is he here? Because it looks like when accountants are staying outside more than inside. Is he here? Because there was also an accountant in the previous where you asked, he was told he had stepped out. So I don't
think it's different.
It's different. What was the name of the, through the chair, what was the name of the previous accountant?
What was the name?
Kevin Koech or
Kevin
somebody?
Koech, yeah.
Okay. So this one is Brian Brigham. Okay.
But even if the accountant is not here, just check the status. The CEC Finance is the administrator of emergency fund.
But Chair, on your indulgence, sorry
Yes.
for interrupting, but when introduction was done, this guy was here. Does it mean anybody can walk out before the meeting ends? Because I can recall my the introduction. They were here.
Was he, did I hear Brian? Clark.
Yes. I thought they were Kevin Koech and another accountant, Brian Brigham, and of course the governor and the rest of the team.
But Chair, what should be checked is just if they are in good books with the ISPAC, if they are in good records with ISPAC.
That's what he's checking. I think
The reason, Chair, we don't due respect. This is the committee of the Senate.
yes.
So anybody who wants to exclude himself or herself, they must seek the permission of the chair of the committee. It is not the other way. So if we allow people to be walking out of your meetings, then it is a bad precedent. Because when somebody doesn't want to answer, they'll just walk out, and before you know it, you don't have anybody in the room.
He wasn't in.
He wasn't in.
Yeah.
So
What about Kevin Koech? He was not in. Okay.
So
We'll check the
I
answer.
think then what is the status of the? We have a problem with the website for verifying that. But all the same, let me take it to the CEC Finance through the governor. The regulations of the law allow that you are the administrator of the emergency fund. So can you explain this anomaly of inaccuracy as highlighted by the Auditor General? Yeah, now Brian, his membership is active, but is not in good standing. Proceed, you can also respond to that issue of not being in good standing.
Oh, thank you, Chair. On the aspect of not in good standing, I know usually the regulations by ISPAC require that a member meets certain minimum hours called CPD hours. Possibly Brian may be behind in his schedule, but as a government, we always ensure that by end of the financial year, all accountants have attended at least, and we paid for them, have attended at least a minimum of 40 hours that are required for professional development. And we've done this consistently, Chair. So if he's lagging behind, it's one of the items that we'll be going forward to regularize. Thank you. Chair, you asked on query number 1.
Query number 1, the issue of inaccuracies, presentation issues, and disclosures. For example, there are 2 issues the auditor has raised. He has raised about the emergency expenses of 24 million, which did not have analysis of emergency expenditure, and also the issue of aspect number 2, payment of about 1,773 instead of 25 million, leading to that variance of 24.9 million. So you can explain all that.
Thank you, Chair. On part 1, it talks about failure to make a breakdown or an analysis of the 24 million. And the response, Chair, was that under note 9 in our revised financial statements, that is page 18 of the financial statements, an annex has been done and that analysis has been captured properly. Of course, Chair, we understand that funds report under accrual basis, so in the subsequent periods we've really endeavor to ensure that our team is well capacitated to do proper disclosures and detailed disclosures in line with what you've even said, so that we give as much information as possible. On the same number 2, Chair, this error arose, the 1,773 is an error that arose when the accountant was preparing financial statements in Excel, and then they do the transfer of the same to Word document. In the process, transferring, it led to an omission, and therefore the arithmetics on the Word document didn't add up. So really, this is an error that going forward, keenness must be observed by the accountants. But this has since been captured properly, and we really want to confirm that preparation of accounts on Excel, going forward, we don't need to transfer to Word. It can just be converted to Word from Excel without transferring number by number, which leads to some of these petty errors. Thank you, Chair.
Maybe you need to tell this committee, be honest to this committee, because we know what usually happens in some of these financial statements. That the financial statements are probably done by someone else who is not the one who signs the financial statement. It's maybe done by someone, junior accountant, and qualified junior accountant. And then the qualified one just comes in to sign. Could that be a similar case to this? We have seen that with other counties.
Well,
because surely a member of ISIPAC who has been trained on public sector accounting standards board regulations will not make such mistakes. So they can only occur if that person is not qualified.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, indeed, under the financial reporting unit, we have accountants who are qualified and they have different roles. The junior accountants are the ones who really generate the data, and finally, the process that is given to the senior accountant to prepare. I have both the fund administrator here and the fund accountant who are directly involved, and they can confirm, Chair. But truth is, with proper reviews, Chair, by the senior accountant, these errors shouldn't have occurred, and our FRE unit is undergoing a bit of restructuring to really ensure that we don't appear here with some small errors like this one. Thank you.
Yeah, so Senator Bogwa.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe to the auditor, if we were to take it that these were errors, in your exit meeting, did you have a chance to engage them? Because I believe you would have sorted it there, instead of it coming all the way here if it is an error as it put it.
Thank you, Chair. We had several engagements in the exit meeting, and we did the management rep, and then we did the draft report before finalizing with the Auditor General's certificates on the same. Thank you.
I think you have answered.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I'm just wondering, I think it is indicated that as he's giving explanation that the error occurred when they were transferring, isn't there a standard criteria given for such feedback?
There is a template that is prepared by the
So
company.
did they use that template? That's my question.
Yeah. So, Auditor, and you have not answered Mbogwa properly.
Chair, we raised these issues in the first. We do what we call audit issues. We raised the issue, and then we did the management letter in which the issue came out, and then we did the draft audit report. And at times, Chair, other issues come on review, because after audit, the exercise review is done at various levels, so other issues can come up, but again, management is usually given an opportunity to respond. So that's why this issue is here, because the responses were not adequate.
So according to you, it was not an error?
Okay, thank you, Chair. According to audit, We normally assume everything is not an error unless management proves otherwise.
Answer my question about the tablet.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe I need to get Honorable Senator's question again, once again.
I asked, isn't there a standard way of reporting? There is a given tablet. Did they use it? Because the way he was explaining, the error occurred when they were transferring.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have the National Treasury has issued accounting templates through the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board guidelines. So it's like they didn't adopt the templates fully. That's where this kind of errors end up cropping up.
Then kindly respond why you did not use the given template.
And Chair, before he responds to that through you, so that he can respond together, it's that don't you check the work after the accountants have done as the CCM Finance?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I wish to confirm that what the template that is given to us by the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board is an Excel template. That is the same template that we use. The occurrence of this error, Chair, is in an attempt to present neater versions of this document. We usually prefer to take them to Word. Now, when you're taking to Word, you're keying figures to the Word document, but you're transferring the same figures that are really